Practicing well. Guys are always on Mondays learning the new game plan, so just trying to get everything installed, but it went pretty well.
Stanford's always been stout up front. Are they looking that way on film again this year, or what's the challenge you face?
Yeah, I think we've already played some of the best defenses in the country, and Stanford's been one of the best defenses in the country for several years. If you look at all the scores of their games, nobody's scoring much on them. So we got to take advantage of every drive that we get and try to execute well.
Before the Michigan State game, a lot of talk was that Michigan State is like Stanford. Now that it's kind of with the Stanford game, do you see similarities in just having played Michigan State help you guys going into this game?
I think the biggest similarities are just that they're really good on defense, both teams. I think they're very sound, and both teams tackle extremely well and don't give up big plays. So schematically, they're not really the same, but just both teams have an outstanding defense.
What did you learn the past 2 years against Stanford you guys are bringing to this year?
Well, like I said, I think the biggest thing is we have to take advantage of every drive that we get. I think we only had, 8 or 9 drives in that game last year. They kept us off the ball, kept us off the field by controlling the ball, and we're not going to get that many chances in a game like that where they're trying to slow it down, so we can't make mistakes. And we turned it over a bunch last year, and we can't do that.
Dwayne and Farrow statistically are really emerging over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Is there anything to the timing of that with those two, and what kind of weapons are they, maybe particularly in the red zone for you, their size?
No, Dwayne and Farrow have both done a great job. They're both very reliable receivers with good hands. It hasn't been intentional. We try to get the ball to whoever's open in whatever situation we need to, and those guys have been open the last couple weeks. So they've gotten their share of touches. Byron played an exceptional game too. But next week it could be Darren Carrington, it could be Devin again. We'll see how it works out.
A couple of weeks ago, Coach Helfrich said that Darren Carrington was coming along, practicing out there. Has he continued that these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, and Darren's played well too the last couple weeks. Like I said, sometimes the ball finds you and sometimes it doesn't. He's been open a few times too, and the ball went to other places. But we're extremely happy with Darren and his progress.
What's Byron's splits like in practice between practicing at receiver and practicing at running back?
We try to get Byron enough reps at every spot that he's going to play that he feels comfortable going into a game wherever we're going to need him. And his versatility has been a big key for us on offense this year.
What does Charles bring you carrying the ball and then also coming out of the slot a little bit so far?
Charles did an exceptional job in that game. He's our special teams player of the week again, and did some unbelievable things there. Really on offense, he played slot receiver, he played tailback, he played fullback, and did a lot of different things for us. So he gives us one more guy that we can move around and use in a lot of different ways.
You're seeing his role maybe expand as he's getting more and more comfortable within the offense as he get through midway through the season?
Yeah, Charles is the type of guy you could put on the field in about 10 different positions and he would excel. So we're going to continue to have a package for him and try to use him wherever we can.
You guys have put up big numbers against virtually everyone except Stanford. Is there anything mentally or psychologically you guys have to get over against them?
No, I said this after the game. I think one mistake we might have made last year was putting a little too much focus on this game. We had the game, in my mind, it was circled at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of the players had it circled in their minds at the beginning of the year, and we didn't play our best. I think the key to having a success this week is just playing well. Those guys do a lot to take you out of your game, but we haven't played our best game 2 years in a row against them. So hopefully we come out and play like we do every other week and put a good game out there.
Did Marcus's knee injury last year hurt your game plan at all, or change your game plan at all, or really hamper him at all?
No, we didn't really change the game plan because of that. He just couldn't move like he normally could. So it changed things a little. But listen, every team has injuries every year. The team we played last week had some key guys out. Stanford's a little beat up. We're a little beat up. That's just the way football is in the middle of the season.
Are guys more fired up maybe for this game? I mean, you said you didn't want to be the same situation as last year, but do you sense at all that guys are a little excited at least?
I think that anytime you're playing a team that's beat you and playing a team of this caliber, guys' emotions will be high. Hopefully the fan base is out in force on Saturday and giving us a good showing, and I don't think there'll be any problem getting us fired up.
When you played, was there a team that that had your number when you were there? You guys didn't lose very many games, but was there a team that had your number that you wanted to get back at before you left this program?
No, we lost 2 games in my 2 years at Nebraska, one to Texas, one to Arizona State. So I've gotten a chance to coach against both those teams since then.
So you got your revenge that way?
We've won our share of them, yeah.
Given what happened last year with the guys, as you mentioned, maybe putting too much emphasis on Stanford, do you Have you guys verbalized that to the team about what happened last year to try to get them not to do that this year, and how it's going to be natural for them now that it's 2 years in a row? How do they not put this game on a pedestal, so to speak?
Well, this game is no different than the game we're going to play the next week and the game we're going to play the week after that in the Civil War. Our guys have some lofty goals, and to get there, you got to take care of your business. And this game didn't have any more importance than the last one. So I think our guys this year have done a lot better job of really buying into the one game at a time approach. We haven't had as many distractions off the field and in the media and the social media, anything like that. So I think our guys have really bought into trusting the process and taking it 1 week at a time.
Did you learn anything as a play caller from that game that you grew from?
No, I think more than anything, just taking advantage of drives. We weren't very efficient in the red zone the last 2 years against them, so we'll definitely take a hard look at the red zone. But we moved the ball pretty well when we had our chances last year. We just, fumbled a couple times in their red zone, went 4 and out once deep in their red zone. We can't waste opportunities like that.
Scott, what was it that made you think maybe you'd overemphasize that game a little bit too much last year? Something you saw after the game?
I think we just played a little tight. I think maybe Stanford might have too. I think both teams going into last season probably were looking forward to that game as the one you had to win. As good as the Pac-12 is and as good as every team in our league is, you can't afford to do that. And our team's done a great job of focusing on every team that we play. So I haven't heard anything about this team going into last week or the rest of the season.
You mentioned Dwayne Stanford. He said that after the Washington State game, he really learned how to practice. Have you seen that out of him, and what have you seen from his growth?
All our receivers practice hard. I've said it since I coach receivers that there's no position group in the country that runs as much as a receivers group at Oregon. Those guys all do a great job, and they have a great example. All they have to do is watch Keenan Lowe practice to figure out the standard, and a lot of those guys have adopted that strategy.
Speaking of Keenan, how's he doing?
Keenan's doing great. We weren't sure about him last week, and obviously he didn't play last week, but we're 3 weeks out from what happened, so feel real good about it.
Scott, the '94 Oregon team's been celebrated a lot this year. What do you remember going against Nick's defense when you got thrown in there?
The biggest thing it makes me think about is how old I am, because if it's 20-year anniversary of me playing against them, then it's been a while. It was a great team. That was my first start as a college quarterback. They beat us pretty good. I think my first pass got tipped and intercepted, so it was a rough game for us, but Oregon had a great team, and obviously it's one of the celebrated teams in Oregon history.
The 40 Club's not so bad. We'll welcome you into it soon.
Thank you.
Are you at all curious to see what the selection committee's rankings are?
No, I could care less what the committee's rankings are right now. I trust those people. There's some awful smart people on that committee, and they'll make the right decision. But to be honest, I feel like it's kind of pointless to come out with it now. So many games still have to be played. We've got a tough slate ahead of us. Teams ahead of us have a tough slate ahead of them. Teams behind us have tough games. People can talk about it right now, but it really doesn't matter until that last one. And, it's the team that takes care of business from here on out that'll be there.